You know that feeling, right? You land on a website and you can just tell it was built by a pro. There's this gap, a huge gap between an amateur site and a professional one that you can see, you can feel, but it's so hard to put your finger on exactly what it is. It feels like you need to learn a million different things to get there. But what if I told you that's just not true?
So what is the secret? What's the actual difference maker that takes a website from just looking okay to being something that truly works, that feels right? Well, let's pull back the curtain, because I promise you the answer is way, way simpler than you think.
It's not about learning some mountain of complex theories or 1,000 different tools. After building, well, more websites than I can count, I've realized it all boils down to just 5 things. 5 core skills. If you can master these, you're going to leapfrog straight into the top 1% of web designers. So here's the roadmap. First, we're going to master typography. Then we'll systemize our layouts. After that, it's all about using color with real purpose. Fourth, we'll get comfortable with some essential code. And finally, we'll learn to design for action. You get these 5 things right, and you'll know exactly what to do to level up your work and fast. Okay, first up, let's talk typography. Think about it. Besides just empty space, text is the biggest thing on pretty much any website. Amateurs, they kind of feel when the text looks off. But pros know why it's off, and it's because they have a system.
And that system starts with picking the right fonts. See, most people just use the same old free fonts everyone else is using, which means their designs just kind of fade into the background. If you want to stand out, you got to find unique, high-quality fonts. 2 of my absolute favorite spots for this are FontShare. It's great for clean, professional stuff, and Uncut, which is perfect when you want something a little more out there and experimental. And the best part? They're loaded with incredible free options.
But listen, a cool font is only step 1. You ever noticed how on a professional site, all the text just feels like it belongs together? That's not an accident. It's thanks to something called a type scale system. This is the real secret sauce, a simple set of rules for all your font sizes and spacing that takes all the guesswork out of it. It's pure intention.
And you know what? Making one is super straightforward. Step 1, pick a base size for your main body text. 16 pixels is a really common place to start. Step 2, choose a ratio. A really popular one is called the major third scale. And step 3, you just apply that ratio to generate all of your heading sizes. What you get is this perfect mathematical rhythm. And here's what that actually looks like. If your paragraph text is 16 pixels, the major third scale automatically gives you a perfect 20 pixel H4, a 25 pixel H3, and on up the ladder. See? No more guessing. It's a mathematical system, and that guarantees a beautiful, harmonious result. Now that exact same idea, replacing all that guesswork with a solid system, brings us to our second skill, systemizing your layouts. Amateurs just kind of drag and drop things around until it feels okay. But pros, they use systems that guarantee a great structure every single time. And really, that whole system just rests on 3 pillars. You need a grid system for your basic foundation. You need a spacing system to give your design some rhythm and breathing room. And you need a strong visual hierarchy to tell the user's eye exactly where to go. When it comes to spacing, the industry standard is the 8-point grid system. It sounds fancy, but all it means is that every space and the size of every element on your page is a multiple of 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32, you get it. This is the exact same system that Google uses for material design and Apple uses for its products. I mean, if it's good enough for them, it's a pretty solid bet for us, right?
So let's talk about that visual hierarchy. The truth is, people don't read websites, they scan them. So your first tool to guide their eyes is proximity. It's simple. By putting related things close together, you instantly create visual groups. It just makes the whole page easier and faster to understand.
Second is size. This one's a no-brainer. Bigger things grab our attention first. It's just how our brains work. So if you want someone to look at something, make it bigger. You're basically yelling, "Hey, look over here," without actually yelling.
Third up, we've got contrast. Playing with different colors, font weights, or sizes is such a powerful way to make certain things just pop off the page. It's how you direct focus exactly where you want it to go.
And finally, alignment. There is nothing like clean lines to create a sense of order and structure. When you get your alignment right and combine it with proximity, size, and contrast, your design doesn't just look professional, it becomes incredibly simple for the user to follow along.
All right, skill number 3. Let's tackle the one that trips up almost everybody, color. I mean, there are literally millions of colors to choose from.
how are you supposed to pick the right ones? Well, here's the secret. You don't have to.
This is so important. Pro designers don't use more color. They use color more intentionally. It's not about finding 5 different colors that look nice together. It's about giving each color a very specific job.
And a super easy system for this is the 60-30-10 rule. Think of it like a recipe. 60% of your design should be neutral colors, your backgrounds, your main text. 30% is a secondary color for things like cards or other visuals. And that last, precious 10%, that's your accent color. And you save that only for the things you want people to click on, like buttons and calls to action. Oh, and here's another pro tip. When you need a bit of variation in your design, don't make the amateur mistake of adding another random color to your palette. No. Just take your main primary color and play with its opacity. This creates different shades and tints that are absolutely guaranteed to look good together because they all come from the same base. Trust me, one good color used well will beat 5 random colors every single time.
Okay, let's talk about the one that makes a lot of designers a little nervous: code. But I want you to hear me on this. You do not need to become a full-blown developer. You just need to get comfortable with the basics. That alone will put you light years ahead of almost everyone else.
Look, it's all about the strategy. Just learn the fundamentals: HTML for structure, CSS for making things look good, and maybe a tiny bit of JavaScript for interactions. Then, and this is the real trick, don't try to code everything from scratch. Find code snippets online or ask an AI to get you 80% of the way there. Your only job is to learn enough to tweak that last 20% to perfection.
And that brings us to our final, and honestly, the most important skill of them all: designing for action. Because here's the thing. Most designers are busy designing for looks, but the pros design for results.
I had to learn this lesson the really hard way. Early in my career, I did this big redesign for a client. I was so proud of it. I mean, it looked incredible. But about a week after we launched it, they called me, and their sales had absolutely tanked. It turned out that I was so focused on making it beautiful that I completely ignored and actually broke the user's journey. It was a painful lesson for sure, but a critical one.
So how do you avoid that? How do you actually design for action? It comes down to 3 simple principles. Number 1, every single page gets one goal. That's it. 1. 2, your calls to action need to be absolutely impossible to miss. And 3, you have to build trust. Use things like reviews and testimonials, social proof, to connect with your users on an emotional level.
So there you have it. Typography systems, layout systems, intentional color, essential code, and designing for conversion. These 5 keys, these are what separate the good designers from the truly great ones. You have the blueprint now. You know exactly what to focus on, so the only question left is, are you going to master this foundation, or are you just going to keep chasing the latest trends?